In government's efforts to ensure efficient quality services to economic operators in response to the growing prominence of trade facilitations as a key component within the trade policy spectrum, the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade last week launched its import-export online system known as IMEX, which will enable traders to submit online permit applications as well as have it issued on the platform. Dita Nyipondoka Robiati, the Deputy Executive Director in the Ministry, now joins us via Skype for an update. Good morning, ma'am, and welcome to Good Morning Namibia.
Good morning, Denver, and good morning, viewers. Thank you for having me on the program. And basically, the IMEX system is the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade, through the Import and Export Control Act, is able to restrict certain imports and exports into the country. And when that has to happen, permits are required. And basically what would happen up to now is that these permits would have to be applied manually from our offices. It's permits that relate to the import, to the export, and to the transit of controlled goods. So basically what our IMEX system does is that the system is digitalized and now allows electronic application and processing of import, export, and transit permits, reduces time, cost, less errors, more transparent, as well as predictable.
In other words, it's in pursuit of greater efficiency. Is that what you're saying?
Denver, I'm not able to hear you, but I suspect you have asked the second question. Basically, what we have done is that before the launch of the system, we had an engagement with our stakeholders, whereby we had training of traders that commenced last week, Friday. On our database, we have about 4,000 traders. And we also had social media platforms of the ministry where we have been broadcasting as much as possible. We've been engaging with various media houses, such as this platform of Good Morning Namibia, clients that come to our offices, the ministry, as well as very key stakeholders, such as customs, Ministry of Finance through customs, very, very crucial, Ministry of Agriculture, who issues veterinary permits, Ministry of Mines, who issue those permits, as well as Ministry of Forestry and Environment and Forestry. Of course, our regional officers, all 14 of them, have also been assisting the public and the users of this system.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, this tool will enhance the benefits to be reaped from the recently signed African Free Continental Trade Area and many other trade agreements ascribed to by Namibia by enhancing trade facilitation. Kindly explain to us how that will work.
All right. So basically, with the trade facilitation, of course, you know that it involves a whole lot of aspects and factors. And one of the most important when it comes to international trade is the crossing across the border. How long does it take for a product to come from country A to country B? If you are aware of the World Bank ranking on the ease of doing business, the last pillar that they look at is trading across the border. And unfortunately, we've not been faring very well in that pillar. And what we're hoping with this platform is that it would actually assist us to increase more efficiencies. So when trade takes place between Namibia and the rest of Africa, we are now being able to reduce costs. We are now able to be more efficient so that we can then facilitate the trade between Namibia and the rest of Africa, as well as the rest of the world. But of course, in the overall picture, Namibia is working towards a national single window platform, which basically connects all the cross-border agencies, such as customs, such as the banks, such as customs brokers, logistics companies that actually will have one digitalized platform. So this IMEX system is basically one of those components that is going to build up onto the national single window platform.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, what we do know is that IMEX does not function in a vacuum and in isolation. Please talk to us about how it will enhance and complement the existing face-to-face interactions of the ministry.
Denver, I didn't hear that question. Could you just repeat?
What we do know is that IMEX will not function in isolation or in a vacuum. How will it complement the existing face-to-face services provided by the ministry?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I hear you. From the start, those that do not have online facilities, we will still be assisting them as we have been doing at our offices as well as at our regional offices while we are phasing it out gradually. We will soon set up kiosks that facilitate the people all over the public to be able to use this IMAX system. Maybe just to give you a background about our kiosks, we've been issuing SME certificates. And basically, we have platforms at our regional offices, all 14 of them, where you're actually able to apply for that SME certificates. And what we will do now, we'll just attach the IMAX to be one of those facilities that are then where you are able to apply for your IMAX permit as well. So this we will roll out the kiosks in time. We already have them in the regions, but we do not have the IMAX system set up on them yet. And as a result, the regional officers will still be facilitating and assisting the public as we have been doing up to now. Thank you, Denver.
Ma'am, as we start to wrap up our conversation, firstly, what other support services do you expect to take effect soon? And what monitoring and evaluation systems are in place to gauge the continued progress or otherwise of these services?
All right. So, for example, with the IMAX, what we do, of course, admit is that it's a new system. It will have glitches, it will have growing pains, and we've been very open with the public and the stakeholders to say, please, if there are those issues that we need to correct, do make it do come to us and bring it to our attention so that we can address them as soon as possible. I think on the website we would have frequently asked questions. We'll also have e-feedback sessions for those. As I've mentioned to you before, the national single window, which will be a bigger platform, and we are hoping that what we currently have with the IMAX is going to sort of build onto the single window, which will eventually help us develop capabilities as well as help us to enhance eventually when we have this single window initiative in place. But ultimately, what we are trying to do is that we want to reduce costs, number one. Number two, we want to also comply to the COVID regulations and protocols to avoid human-to-human contact. We also want to help predictability because our system is a first-come, first-served. So just because you know data does not mean that you're going to get your permit when you ask last minute. And then also to avoid any other complications that may be suspect of corruption or any of that stuff. So we're hoping that this will definitely bring up more efficiencies, more predictability, as well as to then adhere to the COVID regulations. Thank you.
Before we let you go, what are your brief concluding remarks this morning?
Thank you to everybody. It's not easy for all of us. It's a new venture that we are engaging into. We hope that you'll be able to bear with us should those glitches occur. But I think ultimately, during these very difficult times, what we need to do is work together. We can't be critiquing each other for every little thing, but we're hoping that our stakeholders will definitely come on board and we try to hold hands and see how we can make better inroads in this. Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you very much for your time and best of luck with the implementation of the system.
Thank you so much, Denver, and have a good morning to all of you and the viewers. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Dita Nyipondoka Robihati, the Deputy Executive Director in the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade, talking to us about the import and export online system which the ministry launched last week. We'll be back after